The Lunaverse. Universe by Rainbow Double Dash. Episode 1. Longest Night, Longest Day. Chapter 10. The Plan. Oddly, Trixie didn't feel nervous about the fact that, with the sun directly overhead, it was essentially midday. Perhaps that superstition was keyed more to the time of day than the position of the sun. Either that or she was so terrified right now that the mere nervousness over the unnatural midday wasn't capable of registering beyond abstractly noticing its absence. Trixie opened the door to her house, closed it, and let the invisibility spell she had wrapped around her and Ditsy Doo, whom she was carrying on her back, slide off them. On saying Ditsy Doo, she almost wished she hadn't. The Pegasus mare's eyes were wide with panic, as he was holding onto Trixie tightly, sobbing without shame into the unicorn's mane. Ditsy cried out as Trixie made her way into the living room, suddenly finding life in her limbs as her wings began beating frantically, lifting herself off of Trixie's back and straight up. She was stopped only by the room's ceiling and came crashing down to the floor again. Trixie leapt on top of her before the mare could get her hooves under her and go racing outside. Ditsy! Trixie cried as she held the Pegasus down. Ditsy, stop! You can't! Get off! Ditsy Doo interrupted, full leg glancing out and hitting Trixie squarely in her jaw. The unicorn stumbled backwards. Ditsy began running, but Trixie was faster and once again on top of her. Get off of me! I have to save her! Ditsy cried out. You can't! Yes, I can! Ditsy shouted, rolling over onto her back in order to buck Trixie. The unicorn's horn pulsed with magic and stopped the blow. Then Trixie once again threw herself on top of Ditsy Doo, holding her down. She did not stop struggling in the slice. She's my daughter! I have to save her! I have to— You can't! Trixie repeated. She stopped holding Ditsy Doo down, and instead switched to embracing the Pegasus. Unsurprisingly, Ditsy latched onto Trixie, once again crying her eyes out. She wasn't going to run out of any tears anytime soon, it seemed. Trixie felt her own eyes watering as well. I'm sorry, Trixie begged. I'm sorry. I didn't know Corona would do that. I didn't know. I was just trying to save the mayor. I thought I was going to die, but then I thought I found a way to make it out. That no pony would be hurt, and I didn't know. The two ponies remained on the floor of Trixie's living room for several minutes, just holding each other, one racked with feelings of failure, and the other with guilt. At length, Trixie forced herself to pull away from Ditsy Doo, got onto her sinking hooves, her expression dark. She'll be fine if— Trixie began, when the window to her living room exploded inwards in a shower of wood and glass. Trixie's horn flared, but she didn't have time to react, as a jasmine and blue blur slammed into her, forcing her back against the wall. Trixie's eyes widened as she locked into Raindrops' own. Wait! The unicorn started. There's maybe about 15 seconds before half of Ponyville gets here. Raindrops interrupted as he pulled away from Trixie. Trixie began to speak, but the wearer's pony's hoof was near instantly in her mouth, shutting her up. You, Carrot Tops, run! Trixie blinked once in shock, before survival instinct kicked in. She cast her familiar invisibility and silent spell combo, enlisting a slightly raised eyebrow from Raindrops at the sight of being erased from the visible spectrum, before dashing off as fast as her host could take her. On her way out of her home, through the same holes that Raindrops had made while entering, she saw the mob of ponies approaching her house, cries of traitor and monster on their lips. Oh look! There's even the stormtrooper traitor! And you've been waiting how long? Too long. The mob was surprisingly small. Then again, she supposed that a large number of ponies would be paralyzed with fear and terror over what had just happened. Despite no pony being able to see her, and being so perfectly safe, Trixie ran for her life from Ponyville. Carrot Top jumped as the door opened and closed of its own accord, not long after she had arrived home herself with Lyra and Cheerily. As he was startled when a blue-coated, white-maned, purple-clad unicorn appeared from nowhere only a few feet away, barrel heaving. She looked to Carrot Top. Hi, Trixie began, when she found herself seized in a golden magical aura and hurled upwards into the ceiling of Carrot Top's living room. You! Lyra, still wearing her white and gold dress, exclaimed, charging forward, despite a magenta Earth Pony's attempts to stop her. It's your fault! Bubba's been kidnapped! I'll never see her again, and it's your fault! Tracy grunted, her orange horn flashing and subbing Lyra's telekinesis off of her. She managed to fall from the ceiling and land on her hose without a problem. And both Carrot Top and Cheerilee managed to stop Lyra's attempt to abandon telekinesis and use her barrel hose on Trixie. The blue unicorn nevertheless began backing away, but then the door opened again, and Raindrops entered, half carrying a still distraught Ditsy Doo with her. The jasmine-coated Pegasus glared at Trixie as he did, and closed the door behind her firmly before taking in a few deep breaths and letting them out slowly. Trixie looked around at the situation. Lyra had stopped trying to cause grievous harm to Trixie, instead falling to her knees and crying, with Cheerilee beside her and holding her. Ditsy Doo was at least as distraught. Trixie made her way over to the Great Pegasus and took up a similar role as Cheerilee's for Lyra, before looking at Carrot Top. Okay, she said. Why are you helping me? You were trying to save the mayor, Raindrops asserted. Just about every pony in Ponyville is too angry and too scared to see that right now. But I know what you're trying to do. Her eyes narrowed then, as he leaned in close to Trixie. Right? Because if Corona was right, and if you really were just kissing her flight to save your behind... No! Trixie interrupted, so she paused. I was trying to save the mayor. I was ready to die. But then Corona asked me about my noble title, and I realized that she wanted me alive, because she's going to need to keep the government intact in order to actually run Equestria. I thought I saw a way out. A way for me to survive, and the mayor to survive, and every pony to just make it out okay. I didn't know she kidnapped ponies! Trixie hugged Ditsy Doo tighter at that. As the mayor's eyes resumed with greater vigor, she glared at Raindrops. But why are you helping me? You and Carrot Top! You two hate me! Princess Luna told me so! Raindrops jabbed a hoof at Cheerilee. Magenta Earth Pony blinked a few times, looking between the other 5 ponies. I saw what you were doing, she said. With the mayor, trying to save her. I heard what you were saying. I know you were just trying to make it out okay, but every pony was getting so mad. I heard from Princess Luna that you and Raindrops knew each other. So I got her, and got Lyra, and Lyra suggested Carrot Tops. And we're going to help you hide since the residency wouldn't be safe for you. But then Corona took to foals. But I thought you hated me. I thought you all hated me. But that doesn't mean we want to see you mobbed. Not even Raindrops. The Jasmine Pegasus whickered. No, you're mine. Besides, Shirley said, I know you were just trying your best to make the festival a good... What do we do? Carrot Top interrupted suddenly, as the situation became too much for her. She began to pace in place. Corona's free, and Princess Luna is gone, and I'm harboring a traitor to Equestria. I'm not a traitor! Trixie shouted. You look like one, Carrot Top countered. Even though you're not you look like one, and they're going to search all the houses in Ponyville, and they'll find you, and lynch me for harboring you, and then Corona's going to get mad and kill all the... Carrot Top's ranting was stopped by Raindrops, shoving a hoof in her mouth. A long silence began, interrupted only by the gasping sobs of Ditsy Doo and Lyra. That's not going to happen, Trixie intoned after a while. Corona won't kill any pony. I'll hide just for as long as it takes for Ponyville to calm down. Corona says she'll return every pony as she took, as long as Ponyville obeyed all her commands. All that needs to happen is that, and for me not to be stupid and run into Everfree. Why would you go there? Cheerilee asked. Trixie grimaced, looking down. I thought I could get the... Never mind. Nothing. Forget I said anything. No! Raindrops said, stopping forward. Get what? What are you talking about? Trixie looked up. Raindrops' eyes were narrow as he regarded Trixie. The unicorn stared for a long moment before letting out a sigh. Okay, she said. Technically, this is a state secret. But if it's not in any law books or official orders or anything, it's just something that only me and Princess Luna and maybe a few others know, okay? Raindrops nodded. Trixie looked to each of the remaining 4 ponies. Lyra and Dizzy Dew were still mostly lost in their sadness, while Carrot Top and Cheerilee also nodded in understanding. Sighing, Trixie pressed on. Well, I was talking to Corona, but before she took the foals, I thought I knew of some way to get rid of her. I thought I'd go get the elements of harmony. Carrot Top blinked a few times. You wanted to go to Camelot? She exclaimed. There's a good chance Corona is going to be setting everything on fire! Trixie shook her head. The elements aren't in Camelot. Yes, they are, Cheerilee objected, standing, though she remained close to Lyra. They're on display in the palace. I've seen them. We went there on a field trip when I was a filly. Lyra and all the other unicorns kept going on about how much magic was coming off of them. Those aren't the elements, Trixie explained. They're fakes. The 6 random gemstones that Princess Luna pours tons of magic energy into every year to make them seem like they're the elements. I only know because my special talent is magic. I really got a good feel for magic too, and after I started my apprenticeship with Luna, and she taught me to detect magic spell, I used it to cast it on everything. I cast it on Luna once when she raised the moon, and I went blind for 3 days from how much magic she lets out while doing that. But when I cast it on the elements, I didn't even get a headache. I thought that was weird. You know, they're the elements and all. I asked Princess Luna about it, so she showed me the real elements. Cheerilee blinked. Why would Princess Luna lie about that? Because the real elements are petrified rocks, Trixie said. They're the everfree forest in the ruins of the palace of the Royal Pony Sisters. After Luna banished Corona to the sun, they just went inert and kind of froze in place. No force, not even Luna herself, could move them. Luna didn't want every pony to know that, though. So, she made the fakes. I see that's enough to real ones unguarded, Carrot Top asked. Why? Trixie grimaced. Not exactly unguarded. There's traps. And of course, they're in the middle of Everfree and all its monsters. As for why, Princess Luna didn't say, but at a guess, I say she just didn't want to ever have to go back to where she fought the tyrant's son. Trixie shook her mane. I thought that if I could get the elements of harmony, I might find some way of setting them free and using them on Corona. But not now. Not while she has those hostages. No, Raindrops said. She wasn't looking at Trixie, but rather at the ground, eyes moving as though she was reading. No, we have to go now. Now's the perfect time. What? The 5 other Marines in the room demanded. We're texting and pending a, and where's this we coming from? To her objection. Raindrops looked between them. Corona has her hose full right now, she pointed out. That's why she took all those mares and stallions with her, remember? To keep an eye on the foals. She has a government to overthrow and bring to her side, and she'll probably have to do a repeat of what she did with Trixie and most of other towns and cities in Equestria. At least until she forces everyone else to bow to her. Plus, there's the Royal Guard. They can't win, Carrot Top objected, shaking her head morosely to the thought. But they'll fight anyway, Raindrops pointed out. They'll be buying us time without even knowing. If the elements can work at all, then now is our best chance to get them. But Corona, Lyra objected, as she and Dizzy stood. Corona will kill Bonbon and all those foals as he finds out what we're doing. Raindrops fixed Lyra with a sad look, then turned to Dizzy as well. If we wait, she said, then we'll never get another opportunity at this again. One of the first things Corona's going to do, when she gets a chance, is check out where every pony thinks the elements are. If she realizes they're fakes, she'll hunt down the real ones. The first place you look for something is the last place you saw it. She then looked between the 5 other ponies. Come on, she said. We all know the stories about Corona, the legends, what she's like. We've seen what she's capable of. We saw what she did to Princess Luna. Those ponies she kidnapped won't be safe until Corona is back in the sun where she belongs. But where's this we coming from? Trixie repeated, stepping forward. It's too dangerous. I wasn't even thinking of asking any pony to come with me. Raindrops snorted. Like you last 5 minutes in the Everfree by yourself. Not the point! I know. I also know that there's a chance of stopping Corona. I couldn't live with myself if I didn't at least try. Trixie searched the Pegasus' face. Despite her words and tone, her expression remained surprisingly neutral. Fine, she said. I guess I could use a set of wings anyway. The rest of you, I'm coming too. Shirley said, stepping forward. Those foals are my students. Or a lot of them are anyway. I have to try and save them. Trixie began to object, when Carrot Top stepped forwards. Me too, she said. I know a lot about the flora of Everfree Forest. I might be able to help you. Trixie looked between the 3 ponies. Okay, she acquiesced. Okay, so the 4 of us, I'm coming too. Lyra interrupted, wiping the tears from her eyes. Raindrops is right. Bonbon won't be safe unless Corona is sealed away again. Plus, Trixie, your special talent might be magic, but I actually went to the Magic Academy. I might be able to help free with the elements. Fine, Trixie said, shaking her head. Fine, Dizzy-do. I guess you should go home and... I'm already at the door! Dizzy-Voo's voice said. Every pony turned to look at her. Her wings were no longer sagging with sorrow, but instead were held at the ready, and her face, though eyes were still red from tears and walled, was set with determination. I'm coming too. Dizzy-do would want me to try and save her. Trixie blinked, looking between the 5 ponies. No, she said in a small voice, though it was louder from her next proclamation. For some reason, she felt she had to try and stop them. Stop this madness. No! This is stupid! We're going to get every pony killed! Fine, Raindrop said. We still got Lyra for unicorn magic. The 5 of us will go into Everfree. You can stay behind. Trixie blinked. Are you trying reverse psychology on me? Raindrop's expression clearly asked, do I look like the kind of pony who tried that? Even though she herself remained silent. Instead, Shirley stepped up to Trixie. No pony will blame you, she said. You must have been close to Princess Luna. I don't think if you can handle this right now, we'll understand. Trixie recoiled a little. She managed to not think about seeing Princess Luna so soundly thrashed by Corona, to not think about the fact that Luna was gone, sealed away for millennium, for several minutes now. The image of Corona's magic sending Luna away, while in a white comet straight into the sky, came rushing back to her. Even if they won, even if they somehow, against all odds, got the elements, figured out how to make them work, and then used them on Corona, would that bring Luna back? Trixie looked at Lyra and Dizzy-do. The former had lost the love of her life. The latter had lost her daughter. Both were willing to put everything on the line nonetheless. Luna would never forgive her if she did that. And just as importantly, Trixie would never be able to forgive herself. Trixie didn't consider herself a principal mare, but whatever principles she did have, now was the time to be honest with herself about them. Trixie also grimaced as she looked into each pony in the eye. She had been horrible to them over the past few days. Well, not Dizzy-do so much, but certainly Lyra, Raindrops, Cheerly, and Carrot Top. But these ponies were still willing to go on with what she said she had to try, and save Equestria from the Mad Alicorn Queen, now trying to take it over. And been willing to try and help her from every pony in Ponyville, landing on her like a ton of bricks. I'm going to, she said, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the last 2 days. I'm sorry for the way I treated you all. I'm sorry for the weather for hire ponies, for the blackmail, for calling you useless, for butting in where I wasn't wanting it, for manipulating you to do what I wanted to try, and get back at Luna for something stupid that was all in my head. She looked down. I'm sorry. If this all goes to the sun, I just want you to know that. And Trixie, this is why you performed a little bit better than Octavia. Thanks. The other ponies looked between each other. After a moment, Cheerly, Dizzy-do, Carrot Top, and Lyra all nodded. Just don't do it again, Cheerly said. provided there isn't again for us. Trixie nodded once, before looking hopefully at Raindrops. The Pegasus considered Trixie for a long moment, analyzing her. For once in her life, or at least for the first time in a long time, Trixie willingly let the emotions she was feeling thus display themselves on her face. "All right," the Pegasus declared at length, leaving a hoof as casting off the murderous intent he possessed earlier in the day. "But if you ever do anything like this again, I'm going to hit you. Hard." "Fine by me," Trixie said, "as hard as you want." Raindrops nodded as he headed toward the Carrot Top's home. "I'm holding you to that," she added. Chapter 11. Introductions are in order. "Trixie, I'm going to ask you something, and I want you to be honest," Lyra said as they trotted through the Everfree. Trixie stopped on the rough trail, looked around, and let out a long sigh. "Yes," she said, knowing what Lyra was going to ask. "Yes, I'm lost. Or at least, I don't know where I'm going. When Princess Luna brought me here, we flew it, and it was years ago. I wasn't trying to remember the way." "Great!" Carrot Top declared, rolling her eyes as the rest of the ponies all came to a stop. And all six tried very hard to not think about the fact they were standing idly under the gnarled, twisting boughs of the Everfree forest. Something was wrong with the Everfree. No, not quite that, Trixie thought. Something being wrong with Everfree implied that there was something outside forest causing its peculiarity. Trixie was fairly certain, however, that instead something was simply wrong about the Everfree forest. The trees and plants grew on their own, according to their own designs. The creatures, the animals, yes, but also the other things in here, took care of themselves. And the weather, as Trixie had recently learned, also moved and changed seemingly randomly. Theoretically, the eerie feeling of the Everfree should have been lessened by the sun hanging high overhead. It may have been midday still, but it was also the middle of winter. Even in the Everfree, meaning that the trees had no leaves on them, and plenty of sunlight shining into the forest, lighting its darkened corners. On the other hoof, not only was the sun shining into clear blue skies, still faintly studded with stars beyond the disk glare, but it seemed to be burning with more intensity than was natural for the season. The snow and ice that blanketed the Everfree was melting quickly, making the air unexpectedly stifling, especially for 6 ponies clad in winter capes and hats. The 2 unicorns in the group, at least, were grateful they had thought enough to leave their additional articles of clothing behind at Carrot Top's. "Hang on," Raindrops said, beating her wings and rising. "I'll see if I can get us a point of reference or spot the ruins." The other 5 ponies watched her rise into the sky. They looked between each other awkwardly. So far, their valiant quest to save Equestria and its ponies had amounted to a walk through a humid forest of melting snow, bothered only by their imaginations and the stories of the place. The silence stretched. After a moment, it continued to stretch. And eventually, it continued to stretch. "Some pony!" Carrot Top broke the silence, eliciting a startled jump from Trixie and Ditsy Do both, though the others handled it somewhat better. "Please to say or do something so I can stop thinking about the past few hours!" There was a pause that threatened to become another bout of awkward silence before Charlie spoke up. "Well," she said, "apart from Lyra, I don't know most of you very well. So, how about we start with that?" She nodded to herself at the thought. "Just like on the first day of class, or when a new student comes in, they introduce themselves and say a little about—" She trailed off after a moment from the looks of other ponies, and hung her head. "Sorry, stupid idea." Dizzy Doo sifted uncomfortably for a moment, before stepping forward. "Hi, every pony!" she said, her voice somewhat monotone. "I'm Dizzy Doo. I delivered the mail to you." She pointed to Lyra. "And you, or I will once I start getting some." She pointed to Trixie, then finished by pointing straight up. "And to Raindrops. I have a very severe case of strabismus, wild eyes, or have since I was born." She thought for a moment, scratching the back of her head with one hoof of thought before chuckling.
And I'm a horrible judge of character when it comes to stallions.
Her low laughter prompted similar chortles from other ponies. Trixie assumed that Ditsy was referring to whatever circumstances saw her carrying and raising Dinky-Doo at such a young age. It was also probably a good sign that Ditsy-Doo was able to laugh at the situation. Charlie nodded.
Oh,
She said,
and your cutie mark? What's your special talent?
Ditsy-Doo blinked.
She said,
Looking at her flank, where several bubbles floated.
Air currents. I'm really good at feeling air currents, even tiny breezes. I'd probably be a weather pony if not for my disability.
Charlie offered a polite series of host stamps for Ditsy-Doo, and the other funner ponies, despite themselves, joined in.
Okay, who's next?
Me, Lyra volunteered. Trixie did not find it surprising that the two ponies who personally lost something were the most eager to take part in Charlie's little exercise, to try and forget about Corona stealing their loved ones.
Lyra Heartstrings. My special talent is music, especially strings, and especially the lyre. But I can play just about anything you put in front of me, and I'm a good singer, too. I spent 3 years at Luna's Magic Academy on a music scholarship, and
She got up on her hind legs, wobbling a little before balancing.
Can do!
She began leaning backwards, almost falling over, but her forelegs arched out over her head in a very painful-looking position.
This!
The 5 ponies stared at Lyra, now with her horn nearly brushing the ground beneath her. Legs spun out unnaturally, with a grin on her face.
Ew,
Trixie declared.
Ew. Doesn't that hurt?
Carrot Top asked. Lyra let herself fall onto her back, before picking herself up.
Not really,
she remarked.
I'm double-jointed pretty much everywhere.
Ew! Trixie repeated. Lyra stuck her tongue at her, prompting another round of low laughter from the group. Thankfully, Lyra didn't seem to have, or else chose not to demonstrate, any facial contortion talents.
That was interesting,
Shirley declared.
I'll go next. I was born in Ponyville, and I lived there my whole life. I teach the elementary school there, and my cutie mark.
She turned slightly, presenting her right flank to the other 4 ponies, showing off the trio of blossoming yellow flowers, each of which had smiling faces on them.
Represents my love of seeing my students learn, grow, and eventually blossom into whatever livelihood they want.
There was a moment of silence.
And?
Carrot Top asked. Charlie offered a slight chuckle.
That's it, really. I've been so concerned with getting a teaching license over the last few years, and then making sure my first school year was going well, that I haven't really done much else, or anything.
Oh, come on, Lyra objected. Even I've had time to see Bon Bon every now and then. You were never that shy before I left.
There's got to be some pony.
I would make a hero voting joke, but I think you guys have by now come to expect better quality of my gags. Shirley was probably blushing. Well, of her coat color, it couldn't be seen. She shook her head.
No. We'll have to fix that,
Lyra said, tapping her hoof to her mouth and thought.
Oh, here's an idea.
Trixie's really friendly after a few drinks, and she probably... Excuse me! Trixie interrupted.
Hush! I'm speaking for you,
Lyra commanded. That prompted considerably more earnest laughter from Carrot Top, Lyra, and Ditsy-Doo, while probably Charlie and definitely Trixie continued to blush seriously.
I'm nightmares,
Trixie interrupted.
That's not what you said a few nights ago,
she observed. Me, Bon Bon, and Pinkie Pie. That was the bourbon!
That bourbon is equal opportunity. I'm nightmares!
Charlie managed to laugh at that, and even Trixie couldn't suppress a slight grin.
I'm not either, actually.
She observed Trixie as he turned to Carrot Top.
Okay, Carrot Top, how about you?
Her fellow Earth pony followed the established pattern, showing off her cutie mark.
You can probably guess what my special talent is,
she said, the 3 carrots emblazoned on her flank.
I was actually born in the city, though, in Philadelphia. But I used to come down to Ponyfield to help my grandparents during the summers and harvests. I was starting to be,
She trailed off, a moment in thought, before shaking her mane.
I don't even remember. It wasn't that important. Never really held me much. I love the farm too much, and I earned my cutie mark there when I realized how much. When my grandparents first told me how good I was at planting, tending, and harvesting, and so on. When my grandparents passed on, well, my parents had their own lives in Philadelphia, but I was able to keep Golden Harvest, that's my farm's name, in business. They don't want the farm just sold off. I've been managing. She grimaced as he looked at Trixie. In all honesty, the festival helped. It helped a lot. You were right. The smaller farms at Ponyfest shouldn't sit down on the sidelines and let the apples run roughshod over us. Maybe if we had a sort of union? Trixie shook her head. That doesn't make what I did right. It means you did the right thing for the wrong reasons. Kirito countered. You said you were sorry. That's what's important. By now, every pony was looking expectantly at Trixie. The blue unicorn pinked as she realized this, looking up. What is taking Raindrops so long? She asked nonchalantly. Come on, Trixie, Charlie said. The rest of us have opened up. You're the one I was the most curious about, though. Yeah, Dizzy Duke confirmed. I mean, we all knew each other in some ways already, if we didn't already actually know each other. But apart from Lyra, I don't think any pony here knows you that well at all. Not even me, Lyra noted. Nothing besides a few roamers in the past few days, anyway. Trixie looked behind her companions, then let out a long sigh, slumping a little. All right, she conceded. Every pony else had opened up. She supposed it was only fair she did. So when Raindrops went back, she made a mental note to make sure that the weather pony was also present. Oh, me, a little moon, ever. I was born and raised in New Orleans, but I've lost the accent since I spent the last 10 years in Canterlot. Except when drunk, Lyra noted. When it's okay to call you Lunaverse too. Apparently. Trixie observed in a dry voice. How did you become Luna's student? The Mint Unicorn continued. I mean, was there, like, some kind of contest I missed or something? Or some special test for going to school for gifted unicorns? Trixie shook her head and grimaced. My grandfather was Quartermoon the Magnificent, the greatest magician to have ever lived. His cutie mark was the same as mine. Trixie pressed her aside her cape so she could show off the crescent-shaped nebula of stars, a magic wand that was her cutie mark. He was an earth pony. An earth pony whose special talent was magic? Carrot Top asked incredulously. Trixie nodded. He was a stage magician. Like a hoof, smoke and mirrors, rabbits from a hat, chop cup, making things disappear from plain sight, you name it. He could do it better than any pony else. He always had some new trick. Whenever Grandpapa came by to visit, he used to tuck me into bed, and rather than read me a story, he'd put on a private show. Every pony loved him, including one pony in particular, who made it a point to see every one of his shows whenever he came to Canterlot, though always in disguise. Princess Luna. Trixie should have been saying she with impressed pride and happiness. Instead, her tone was somber. The other ponies looked between each other as Trixie paused. Well, what happened? Ditsy Do asked. Trixie shrugged. He got old, she said, but wouldn't admit it. Until one day, on stage in Canterlot, he collapsed. A liver failure. Luna drew out her disguise and personally took him to the nearest hospital. My entire family was rushed up from New Orleans to see him. No pony wanted to tell me what was happening, but I figured it out, or at least put things together as best as I could for a filly. I knew he was dying, and I knew that meant he was going to sleep. He wasn't going to wake up. Ever. And I knew that if that was happening to me, I wanted him to give me a magic show before I went to sleep. So I somehow managed to convince my aunt and uncle, his doctors, in Luna, to help me put one on for him. As while I was doing this, that Grandpa paused, I earned my cutie mark, since I realized how much I love doing magic. Spells and sleight of hoof both, and love doing it for an audience, for ponies in general. The other ponies glanced between each other. The earning of a cutie mark was something usually joyous and filled with wonder and glee.
Since very often it ranked as the happiest moment of any pony's life, or close to it. For Trixie, though, there didn't seem to be any happiness. So, you earned your kitty mark, Shirley observed, while basically telling a bedtime story to your own dying grandfather. That just might be the saddest thing I've ever heard. Fans of my stories note, this is kind of partly canon for me of what I enjoy about Trixie's backstory. Trixie laughed at that. Not ironically, but a full, deep laugh at the memory. Was startled the ponies from their somber thoughts. I haven't told you about the show yet. That was the sad part, she reminisced. It was the worst ever. My Soraya hoof was awful, even just for a filly. I botched the one trick in particular. It flipped a bedpan and ended up on my head. Thank the stars, it was empty. Trixie leaned forward a little, one hoof on her stomach as she laughed, at the thought of Philly Trixie wearing a bedpan for her hat. That is so adorable. The other mares began laughing as well. Grandpapa huggled me something awful. Trixie continued after the laughter died down. But he also gave me pointers. He was enjoying my show and what it meant. After I was done, Grandpapa said I was the worst magician alive, but that I had potential and more talent than he had at the same age, and did not give up. And that was the last time I saw him alive. He died early the next morning. After the funeral, Luna came up to my family and I. She said that ponies with magic as their special talents are rare, but ponies with doing magic for others are 1 in a million. She offered me her personal apprenticeship. My family agreed. I accepted and, well, here I am, saving the world. I'm trying to ruin festivals, Carrot Top observed. No, that was before, Ditsy Doo pointed out, before Trixie could respond. Now it's saving the world. She can get back to ruining things later. Are you kidding? Trixie asked, suppressing her desire to snark at Carrot Top over her comment. If we make it through this alive, I'm going to lock myself in a distillery for a week! Larry chuckled at that. Lulamoon's more fun than Trixie anyway. We are not calling me drunk me, Lulamoon! Trixie insisted, blushing furiously. We're not! You're not. Shirley corrected, tapping a hoof to her mouth she considered. I think we're going to. Every pony began to laugh at that, even Trixie. The comment wasn't all that funny in of itself, but given the stress and the pain of the last few hours, it felt good to just unwind and laugh, even for only a little while. Forgetting the dire situation they were in, and pretending they were just by themselves in a warm home somewhere. What did I miss? A voice called from above the 5 ponies. Looking up, they saw raindrops overhead, coming in for a smooth landing beside the other 5. Shirley pointed at her. Kitty mark and embarrassing personal details. Now! She ordered. The other mares, besides Raindrops, burst out into a fresh round of giggles, as Raindrops simply looked between them like they had lost their minds. Okay, the Pegasus ventured. So we're just going to sit here laughing instead of saving Equestria to kidnap ponies then? That managed to kill the mood rather thoroughly. It was Charity's idea, Carrot Top explained. We were getting to know each other, rather than thinking about, then, everything, and it was working. Raindrops opened her mouth to speak, but was interrupted by a new voice from behind the panes. How strange it is to hear laughter in my ears. The deep, though obviously still female voice said, When there's force, usually brings out buddy's fears. But I found it a pleasant sound, though desert presence all around. The collective mares all turned to look, and found themselves staring at a pony, or at least a being with a pony shape. Her coat was striped in light and dark gray, standing in dark contrast to the bright golden rings at her ears, round her neck, and front right leg. She was wearing a brown hooded cloak, though the hood was laid down, showing off a mane, striped as she was, that was styled upwards in a tall mohawk. Trixie ventured. Hi? This is Sakura, Raindrops said, trotting around her companions to stand to the next newcomer. And she looked around, checking behind Sakura. Where did he fall behind? My companion you seek. Good pace he normally keeps, Sakura said. He remained behind. I ventured to see a color nature. Raindrops nodded at that. Ah, got it. So let's back to the mares. Anyway, this is Sakura. She's a zebra. Apparently, she lives in the Everfree.
A zebra?
Shirley asked, eyes wide.
What are you doing in Equestria?
My people's traditional shaman test, Sakura said, nodding her head. I have come here on my spirit quest. Great power did I feel sterling, so I came here unerring. Sakura grimaced as she glanced upwards. Though I did not know I sought the sun spirit, your ponies are right to feel it.
And you live in Everfree? Dizzy asked. How is that even possible?
Sakura offered a knowing smile. Compared to the dangers of my homeland, the bears of Everfree are easy to start. I found her while looking around, Raindrops observed, plus her companion. They said they know a way to the palace ruins, and are willing to help us get there. Z's willing, a new voice said. I don't want to go near the place, but no one cares what I think. Maybe the third time some pony appeared out of nowhere. The gathered mares found themselves prepared for whoever was trudging through the path covered by melting snow. They were wrong for several reasons. He was about half as tall as Lyra, the tallest pony of the group. He was colored purple and green. Specifically, he was covered in purple and green scales. He was also walking upright, on two legs, and emphatically was not a pony, instead being a large head, mouth full of sharp teeth, and two short arms ending in four-fingered hands, and a short tail with green spines running down the back. Unlike every pony else, he wasn't wearing anything to ward off the cold or the snow, but didn't seem particularly bothered by it either. Ah, Sakura observed. In this foreign land, he has been my boon companion. I would like to introduce Spike, the baby dragon. Hi, Spike said with a wave. The pony stared. Spike stared back. After several moments, he started making poses, flexing muscles. I know, right? He asked, waving his brows slightly. A baby dragon? Lyra observed, trotting forward. What's a dragon doing in Equestria? Spike shrugged. Don't know. Pony stared. Interestingly enough, Sakura was among them. What? I don't remember what I was like when I was a hatchling. Do you remember what you were like when you were all newborns?
Okay,
Shirley said.
How about afterwards?
Spike shrugged again, pointing to Sakura. Don't remember anything before meeting Z. We were both strangers in a strange land, so we've been hanging out. Trixie blinked.
And thus our surrealism quota filled for the day,
Z asserted. With due respect to you pony folk, Sakura said, the sun spirit's freedom is no joke. I do not wish to appear callous, but we should make haste to the ruined palace. The mayor stored her gazes away from Spike, then nodded almost as one. All right, Carrot said, lead on. Okay, Spike said, as Sakura and the ponies turned, and the latter began to follow the former. Let's go back to the palace with all sorts of horrible death traps.